Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Manic Monday edition of The Rundown. I am your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the left coast behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by my lonesome.
No, you got me to help you out. I am Mike P. Waworski coming to you live from the East Coast. And Craig, I got to say, every time you say the Sierras, it sounds so beautiful, so majestic.
Yeah, I know. You know that's where the Donner Party ate each other, right?
Oh my God. Tell me you do this when I go to restaurants and there's more than like a group of 3 or 4 of us. I always tell them, yes, the Donner Party, and we're starving. Yes, we're the Donner Party. just to hear them say Donner Party of 8, Donner Party.
And then you tell them you're starving just in case, so they know.
Yeah, well,
there's a chance that you might also be on the menu.
That's true. That would be Donner Party of 42. But so yeah, I love doing that. Donner and those that know, they just laugh their ass off. Those that don't are like, I thought your name was Wazowski. Like, wow.
So how was your weekend, Mikey?
Let's see. Mostly worked around the house all day Sunday and regular work on Saturday. So it was a work-filled weekend. How about you, sir?
I actually took a little bit of a family vacation. So we went to Southern California. We went to Universal Studios. So had a good time there at Universal Studios, and then went to Venice Beach.
Did you work out?
No, interestingly enough, the workout equipment was all shut down, surrounded by a fence.
How's that possible?
I know. Well, they're supposedly, in California here, they encourage outdoor activity, except they didn't actually want you to do anything outdoors. They just wanted you to stand outdoors.
Just your governor, he just sucks. I'm sure the mayor down there sucks, and the county government sucks.
Keep in mind,
listen, I've considered going to California, but not now because I work out.
Right. Well, Mike, keep in mind that this is the same. Not just the same state, but the same county where you had 5 deputy sheriffs waiting to arrest a guy who was out kayaking in the ocean by himself because he wasn't observing social distancing.
I recall that. That's how do you not be allowed to work out outdoors? I mean, that's just I work out.
It's California. California. It's California. Sunshine. Sunshine.
I go to the bar, baby. Don't get nervous. No shoes, no shirt. I still get serviced. Yeah, I work out. Yeah, wiggle, 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 wiggle. Yeah, wiggle, 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 wiggle.
Hey, you know what? But by the way, just so you know, for all of you out there who still want to bag on California being so liberal, just understand there are more conservatives and Republicans in California than any other state in the country. Now, the sad part is there happen to be twice as many liberal Democrats.
Yeah,
but that's a whole nother story.
It's like saying there's 5 million deer here in the great state of California. Unfortunately, we have 10,000 lions that are going to eat them, or 10 million lions that are going to eat them.
I'm just making my point. The ratio may not be good, but the numbers are there.
Now, if you guys could do that secession like you were talking about, you'd have one hell of a powerful conservative state.
Oh no, we would. We would have probably the largest conservative state in the country. That's if we could work all that out. But
right.
Yeah, you never know. We shall see. We shall see.
Well, it sounds like you had a great weekend, except for not being able to work out on a beach. I mean, that's like 90% of how the rest of us view California.
Well, unfortunately, I was just forced to sit on the beach and enjoy adult beverages. I know.
I mean, I guess you could still wiggle, 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 wiggle. Yeah, wiggle, wiggle.
Yes, we did. All right, well, hey, let's go ahead and let's get into today's stories, shall we? All right. Starting from the very top here. Now, if you guys have been following the news lately, a very interesting thing is starting to occur, or at least starting to be revealed. Now, you guys remember the whole plot to kidnap the communist, socialist, tyrant governor of Michigan. Well, interestingly enough, we've now come to find out that a significant number of the individuals who were involved in that plot, well, it turns out that 12, I think something like 12 out of 14 of them turn out to be either undercover FBI agents or FBI informants. Mikey, have you heard this?
Listen, this is getting ridiculous. Every time there's an arrest by FBI, every time there's a major arrest by FBI, and it's one of these weird task force, this is the first thing that comes to mind for me. We've seen this a number of places. I want to be clear. This organization in Michigan there wanted to, I guess the final plan was to tase and kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer up there, and she turns out may not have been any real harm ever. This was a group of gentlemen. Listen, I don't know who they are. They're a group of guys. We know that, and it seems like they were probably a bunch of buddies, maybe even some beer drinking guys. And then all of a sudden, somebody got into one of their Facebook groups, and they started to make an association. They started to meet with them. They started to gain favoritism with these guys, and then they started to organize meetings. They started to plant ideas. They started to provide equipment. They started to provide money, and it was all the FBI. It was all the FBI. There was a couple of guys that were like, "Yeah, man, our governor sucks. We should overthrow her." And the governor and then the FBI went, "Well, here's some money, and here's some devices, and here's an organization place, and here's a place to meet. Oh, you live out of town? Here's a hotel for you to stay at while we plan this."
Dude, this is crazy. When you think about it, 12 out of the 14 people were actually working with or for the FBI. I bet you they weren't all working for the same people. They were probably all working for different individuals. But the fact that nobody knew what was going on. I mean, now here's the thing that gets me, Mike. If right-wing extremism is so prevalent, this isn't the first time we've heard of one of these plots, and come to find out, the people that are all in the middle of it tend to be FBI agents or FBI informants, or tend to work for the government, seem to be the ones egging people on.
Listen, it's so bad. Listen, I'll give you first off the other two examples I could think of are the Herald Square bomber from New York. This was a Pakistani guy, 04, 05, 06, somewhere after there, not too long after 9/11, and same kind of thing. FBI met with him, pushed him, but he finally decided he wasn't going to do it. Wasn't going to do it at all. And they still arrested him for attempted terrorism. And then the other one is, you don't hear a lot about this. Listen, I don't know how to pronounce their names. I've always called them the Tyrannosaurus Rex brothers, the Boston Massacre brothers. Because their names sound like they're dinosaurs. They still have not released who built those bombs. We know that neither one of the brothers built the bombs or got the equipment for it. They did not build those bombs. That's public record. That's not me making something up. That's no conspiracy theory.
Well,
so
you know what?
It's Craig. It's gone so far that the TV show Law and Order has done a couple of episodes on this.
Yes, dude. Well, here's the thing, and clearly, even the people who were there in D.C., who were there to see President Trump, even they recognize the potential of this particular plot. Because here's a video of a guy, and I got this video from Representative Tom Massey. I don't know if this guy is an FBI agent or informant or not, but what this shows is even people are conscious of the potential, because here's a guy who's talking about storming the Capitol, and listen to what some of the folks wind up doing as a result of his little holler out of "Let's storm the Capitol" speech.
Go to jail for tomorrow. We need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. What?
Dude started yelling out. They started yelling out, "Fed, Fed, Fed, Fed."
Yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
But you know what? And that just leads me to this point. I'm not saying that there were not people who were Trump supporters who went into the Capitol. I'm not even going to say that there weren't people who were Trump supporters who were involved in violence. I don't know. I haven't seen all of the cameras, all the camera angles, and identified all the people and know where they're from. I'm not in the middle of the investigation. But what I do know is this. I do know that there were people, I do believe that there were people there who were not Trump supporters who were instigating and encouraging people to do illegal things.
Yeah, listen, there's and nobody's examined this yet. Look at the high number of law enforcement officers. They were off-duty law enforcement officers that were there and ended up being arrested. Listen, there was a DEA agent there, full-time DEA agent, and he says he was there documenting what was going on for a friend at the FBI. Look at the number of veterans that were there, Craig. This was a huge number of people that wanted to make sure the Constitution was respected, and make sure it was adhered to. I think you got 10,000 people walking up there, and the first 20 people knock the doors down, and the cops flee. I think the rest of the people are going, well, the damn building looks open. Let's walk inside.
Well,
and I think that's literally how most of those people got in there.
Well, and I think a lot of the people who, I'll put it to you this way. I think a lot of those folks, the worst you're going to see is criminal trespassing. I think you're going to see a number of people who are going to be brought up on charges of, first of all, it's interesting that so far nobody's been charged with either, well, insurrection is not a charge, but no one's been charged with anything serious yet, or at least that we've seen, or at least no one's been convicted of anything, of anything serious. But I think in the end, what you're going to find is that most of these cases are going to wind up going absolutely nowhere because there's just not going to be the substance or the video, or there's not going to be enough evidence to convict them, or in some cases, there's just not going to be. Yeah, there's just not going to be enough evidence.
And again, Craig, why are we focusing on this? Why are the feds focusing on this? We've got many former law enforcement officials. There's problems with the FBI. We know that. And now we've got leaders from the FBI, former leaders from the FBI saying, why are we not focusing on what happened in Portland? Why are we not focusing on what happened anywhere else? Why are we focused on this partisan issue? Hint, hint. Why is this the only thing we're focused on?
Well, and Mikey, and that kind of actually leads us then to our next story, which has to do with Facebook. And we all know that Facebook and the feds, well, they're partners. Well, keep in mind that as a result of this whole thing, supposedly this whole plot was put together and was planned via Facebook, via Facebook group. And Facebook brags about how early on in the process, they were working with the federal government to freeze accounts, to identify out people, to share information and posts and all of that about this. And the group that where some of this was taking place was in a group called the Michigan, it was a Michigan Sanctuary State, Second Amendment Sanctuary State Society or something like that. But it was a group that specifically focused on how to help local municipalities within the state become sanctuary cities or sanctuary counties, or help them to become eventually a Second Amendment sanctuary state. Well, they shut down they wound up shutting down the entire group as a result of it. So this is just one example of, once again, government and big tech actually partnering to silence those who want to advocate on behalf of the Second Amendment. And then we find out, once again, that the majority of the major plotters, the people involved in this, once again, were FBI agents.
No, this is their Second Amendment society, Second Amendment movement there. that was trying to get the sanctuary cities there in the state of Michigan. And again, Craig, they believed that there was 100,000 members on this Facebook page. There's 4 or 6 out of this Michigan group that got arrested by the FBI instigators there that helped organize the event. And then they shut this down. Now, first, before I get into anything on Facebook, Craig, I want to say this, that as of right now, the law says Facebook is a private entity, and you can argue all you want until that law changes, until we get some case law on it, until we get some statutory law on it. That means Facebook's a private place, and there is no First Amendment rights to Facebook, okay? There's no First Amendment rights to Facebook. However, Craig, and I think we're agreed on this, Facebook has become the new public square. And as it is the new public square, it should be protected under the First Amendment. And that's not only from the government, but that's from Facebook also. And I think that's where they have the hard problem, because if they declare Facebook, you have First Amendment rights on Facebook, then who's going to regulate that? Facebook? You let the private corporation regulate the First Amendment? I think that's part of the issue, but I believe it's become the new public square, and it should have certain rights.
Well, and the thing is, they de facto, they declared themselves that. I mean, in the end, you don't get to claim all the protections of the public square, while at the same time declare the protections of a private corporation.
Correct.
At a certain point, you give up some of both, right? In other words, you don't get to say you're the public square and then say we're going to now regulate speech. Well, if you're the public square, no, you don't get to regulate speech because then you're no longer the public square. So make up your mind. Are you a private corporation or are you going to be the new public square? But the other thing is this, once again, this partnership between big tech. And here's the thing, here's the insidious thing about it is a big part of this has to do with the fact that they're partnering with the government because they don't want to be regulated by the government. Right. See, their partnership is in part a way of them pushing off that regulation that they don't want to have. They don't want to be controlled like the public's way. They don't want to. So, and what they're saying is, well, tell you what, we'll help you. We'll be your enforcement arm, your partners in controlling free speech, because we know the government knows they can't do it. They can't control or limit speech. So they then partner with big tech and say, tell you what, you either regulate this, you get this stuff under control, or we're going to come in and we're going to start regulating you. That's where the problem is. So they're using the threat of government force of regulation to get big tech companies to agree in partnership with them in subverting our rights.
And this is, listen, right now it's a connection to the current administration. It's current just connection to politics. But last administration, it wasn't. You know, remember they were at opposite ends, so they still found ways to deal with certain members of certain parties, just not the administration that was in power. So yeah, you're absolutely right. This is again. I got my own new word I'm using. They're all in cahoots. All right, they're in cahoots together. Is what we've got going on. And Craig, I don't know how you stop it. Again, if you say, well, the government's now in charge of its First Amendment, well, the website would come crashing down in about 12 seconds. You know, they have no idea how to manage any, can't manage their own damn websites. How they're going to stop it? And you've got Facebook out there just trying to please people in power by taking certain stories away.
Well, and I think what you're going to see, and this is where, like I said, cases like President Trump's case are so vitally important. You know, I hope he chooses better lawyers than he did for his second impeachment, for either of his impeachments. But
you know what? Hold on. Now, the second impeachment. This is how the second impeachment went. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, just go F yourselves. All right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty much that was how the lawyers did it.
Yeah.
But my point is that there are huge implications with this case. In that we need to make sure that, I mean, because basically what they're saying is that now you have these entities that are trying to get the protections, saying, well, no, we don't. We want the protections of because we don't regulate, we don't monitor, and we don't control, and we don't edit this stuff. We have no editorial involvement, but we all now know that they do have editorial involvement, and therefore need to be held accountable the same way we hold the rest of the media.
Absolutely, absolutely. Craig, by the way, my favorite quote from the second impeachment trial was, "You're talking about my guy all wrong. Do it again and I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron." Oh, wait, that might have been...
You know, I missed that one.
I think that was from Joe Dirt. Never mind. Sorry.
Same difference. Same thing.
It was about the same. It was a comedy. It was.
There were fewer mullets. That's really the only difference. Okay, moving right along. So we all know that a lot of this stuff that's been going on is all, I don't want to call them lies, but yeah, they're lies. And largely because mainstream media partners with the left to provide misinformation. Now, in some cases, they don't know what they're talking about. So it's not really I don't want to say their intention to lie. They're providing misinformation because they don't know any better. And in some cases, it's just a flat out lie. Well, interestingly enough, we have an instance here where PolitiFact actually came out and actually supported a lie that was being told by the president. In other words, I'll give you an example. So here's what PolitiFact said. So PolitiFact, in reporting on handguns, on the town hall that the president did on... he did it on a bunch of different things, but it was on CNN, and where he was talking about handguns. He was talking about standard capacity magazines, or magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. People have said that, well, no, he wants to ban handguns. Well, actually, they said, well, no, he doesn't want to ban handguns. He wants to ban standard capacity or high capacity magazines and assault weapons. Well, Mikey, here's the video of the president at the town hall. Now, I will let you watch this video, and then you tell me what you think the president said.
So gun violence has been on the rise across the country, and as a recent student and young professional living in Over the Rhine, I've seen this firsthand. Gun violence has taken the lives of so many young students and young people. I'm tired, and I want to see change that's going to make our cities like Cincinnati safer. So how will you address gun violence from a federal point of view to actually bring about change and make our local cities safer?
No, I'm not being a wise guy. There's no reason you should. Have you seen my gun violence legislation I've introduced? As you know, because you're so involved, actually crime is down. Gun violence and murder rates are up. Guns. I'm the only guy that ever got passed legislation when I was a senator to make sure we eliminated assault weapons. The idea you need a weapon that can have the ability to fire 20, 30, 40, 50, 120 shots from that weapon, whether it's a 9mm pistol or whether it's a rifle, is ridiculous. I'm continuing to push to eliminate the sale of those things, but...
All right, Mikey, what does it sound like he said there? It's particular at the very end.
He's going to get rid of all guns that take high-capacity magazines. And that's any magazine, by the way. If any gun takes a magazine, it's a high-capacity magazine. Are there 5-round magazines? Sure there are. But there's also 15-round magazines. So any gun that takes a magazine, not rifle, not assault rifle, not long gun, any gun whatsoever, he wants to take rid of. And I believe if you listen to him real closely, Craig, he just wants to take all guns. So
well, no,
what you're going to do is you're going to lose all your long guns and all your semi-automatic handguns, and you're going to be left with a couple of old-ass revolvers.
Well, so, all right, so what I believe he meant was, and I'll say what he meant, I think he wants to talk about banning magazines, or let me clarify, maybe I'm being too generous, but one, he wants to talk about banning magazines that hold more than a certain number of rounds. Now, that may be 10 rounds, that may be 5 rounds. In the state of California, we have a capacity limit of 10 rounds. In some other places, they've talked about passing laws that have magazine limits as low as 5 rounds. But the fact is that if you're going to ban a gun that can take a magazine that holds more than 5 or 10 rounds, then you're talking about banning pretty much all semi-automatic handguns.
And that's my point. Yeah. He wants to. When he
if you're talking about banning just the magazines,
right.
Then it still impacts handguns.
Yeah.
It still impacts handguns. So, yeah, no. I mean, first of all, this is a completely ignorant statement by the folks over there at PolitiFact. But when I say ignorant, it starts from the perspective of our job is to protect the president.
Yep.
Our job is to protect Democrats. And so they operate based from that perspective, and then they just look for information that will support that perspective. And if they don't, then they just say, yeah, we called that guy, and he never got back to us. Not telling you that they called him like 10 minutes before they went live online with the article.
Right. Can you bring up that video, just a screenshot or a pause on video of while she's asking the question? I don't know if we could do that or not. I don't know if we could take a quick view of that, even if it's just on pause.
I do not know if I can do that, but I can probably turn down the sound and we can talk over it.
Okay, let's do that. So play the first 30 seconds or so, and turn the sound down.
Oh, can I turn the audio? Unfortunately, I'm not able to turn the audio off.
Okay, all right.
And what were you trying to say there?
If you look at him while she's asking the question, the only thing I can see going on in his brain is, I wonder what her hair smells like.
Oh, wait. Oh, see, I was just about to say that. And now here we go. Let's go. See, I think I got it. Did I get it? Oh, yeah. No, I can't get it to play. Sorry, man.
Yeah. It's just it's that total creepy look. And, you know, he's not focusing on the question. He's just wondering what her hair smells like.
He probably, you are 100% right. He probably is. Yeah. But anyway, that's the sort of stuff that obviously they won't talk about.
No, this guy wants all your guns, folks. And every time we see him, every time we go somewhere else, every time we go to another even when he was still cognizant of his surroundings, he always wanted to take your guns. He always wanted to take your guns. He was going to leave you with a 2-shot shotgun at one point. Remember, that's all you needed to protect yourself and your family. You didn't need anything else. So that's it. He wants all of your guns. That's it. And Craig, I also sent you. One of the viewers here sent me a parting shot dealing with the first couple of stories. So I sent that to you. I'll let you figure out which one to use at the end, but something else for you to take a look at. Hey, let's roll right along into our next story, shall we?
Yes, sir. Let us do that. Okay, so now in this particular case, once again, we're still talking about Joe Biden, and you're going to notice Joe Biden is a big part of today's program, because, well, he's the gift that keeps right on giving. So Joe Biden now, here's the thing. The whole point of not building the wall was it was a big waste of money, right? Why are we building a wall? The people could just climb over. They could go under. They're going to come into the country no matter what. That's their particular perspective. Well, they say it sends a bad message, kind of like the wall around the White House or, whatnot. But what's funny is people don't realize we're spending $2 billion. $2 billion in order to stop construction of the border wall. $2 billion to stop construction of the border wall, Mikey.
Yeah, and I think this was the last part of the allotment that was sent to the Pentagon, because remember, the Pentagon is the one that was in charge of contracting for the border wall as a national security issue. Well, because that money went to the Pentagon, that money's already locked. So now we spend, and I think the number is $3 million a day we spend to make sure the construction people don't build the wall. So we're spending $3 million a day to have them make sure nobody steals the border wall equipment and construction equipment, and that there's security there in place to make sure nobody steals the equipment. So we're spending $3 million a day to guard the equipment and not the border or building the border wall.
Well, and that, once again, that's just that. That's just a fraction of the overall cost of money that we're talking about here. There's the materials. They have to buy out these contracts because all of these contracts, they're under contract. You don't get to just cancel the contract. You're going to have to wind up paying these folks out because you contracted with them to do a job. They're there to do the job. So you're paying people to not build a border wall.
Sure, but that's the way the numbers work out. We spent $2 million over the course of the year to get the border wall built. Half of it was finished before the federal budget was over, so it's already allotted to the Pentagon. There's just about $1 billion left of it. That's $3 million a day to sit there on the border and make sure no work occurs. So, Yeah, it's a $2 billion total waste is what it is.
Exactly. But nobody's going to talk about that. Nobody's going to talk about that because, well, hey, they're sending checks to everybody. So,
yep, exactly.
As long as they're sending checks to people don't care.
Why don't we say, hey, we should send checks to all the workers on the pipeline that are out of work. We should send checks to all of the people in the United States that have manufacturing, once again, moving overseas. Yeah. Why don't we just write them the checks, Greg? It's just free money. Let's just write the checks.
Well, exactly. So, Mikey, moving right along, there's a representative out of, I believe, the state. Well, I don't know where Representative Ronnie Jackson is out of. He's out of Texas. Okay, so he was formerly a doctor to the president. So he was ex-White House doctor. And he was doctor for both Republican and Democratic presidents, just so you guys know. He believes that based on what he sees in terms of the cognitive abilities of Joe Biden, he predicts that he's going to be forced to resign eventually.
Listen, at any time that more than half of the secretaries up there in the White House decide that they want Biden gone, they can execute the 25th Amendment and get rid of him. We know that. We know this guy's already gone enough. The problem is they can hide him for 2-3 days, then dope him up enough on meds to put him in front of a camera, and he can be, cognizant for 2 hours. Like during a debate, huh? Like none of us saw that happen, right? The guy went off the trail for a week, then they put him up on stage for 2 weeks, and he was able to make sentences. You let him go out and do his own thing for a day or two, and you get what you had last week with the town hall. So my problem is, I know he would fail the test. But if they know the test is coming, they're just going to lock him down for a couple of days and get him ready and sleep him and then dope him up and make sure he's okay. I think at any given time, the secretaries up there can they've got more than half. They can go ahead and execute 25th Amendment and get him removed. But I really think they are trying to push it until one day past midterm. That way, old Kamala there would be eligible for an extra bonus 2 years as president.
Yeah, that would not surprise me. Would not surprise me one bit. The fact is his cognitive abilities are completely slipping. And one of the biggest signs is when you recognize that even the late night comics, who are almost all left wing, get to a point where they say, screw it, we cannot not make fun of this man. It is too incredibly hilarious. And that's what also brings up memes like this, our parting shot. Yeah, who is Antifa? And I wonder what she smells like.
I
All right, Mike, let's see.
Smells pretty.
Now, for those of you who... Wait, say it again.
I bet she smells pretty.
All right, so hold on. I think I can get it. Let me see if I can play this video now and see if I can play it without the sound. Okay, so there we go. As you can see, yeah, he's definitely, look, he's smelling in his brain, his mind.
Okay.
He's like,
right now he's trying to figure out how to get over there. I think I could beat the Secret Service to her. I think I can get there. I think I can get there. Oh yeah. Yeah, look at those curls.
look,
Oh yeah.
he's breathing in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's all he's thinking about. All he hears is smell good hair, smell hair, good hair, smell hair. So.
But dude, that's all just, once again, it is all signs that once again, it would be incredibly hilarious if it weren't for the fact that this is the leader of the free world. Yeah. And, we don't, I don't believe that the country will crumble or people will allow him to make decisions that will immediately decimate the entire country because there's enough checks and balances around him. The problem is that we don't know who's actually running things. We don't know who's actually making the decisions. That's the part that worries me.
Oh, it's probably chief of staff and a couple of the department chairs and secretaries, that kind of stuff. They're actually running it up there. My concern, though, Craig, just like you said, though, is what's going on around the world as people look at him. If somebody decides to really take hostile action against us, we're kind of screwed. I think at this point, all we have going on right now is there's certain leaders out there trying to sell President Biden some magic beans. I think we're at the sell the United States magic bean stage of how should we take advantage of President Biden.
Yeah, no, you are 100% correct, and it is it is worrisome to say the least. All right, hey Mikey, before we depart, how about a shout out to our sponsor, Gorilla Machining, and what are we going to have for the folks on Feedback Friday? Or are we going to have anything this week?
We will, and I believe we'll have from both parties, from Gorilla Machining and our good friends at Ghost Firearms. So we're going to get you a nice rail to go on your America's rifle. You're going to get a nice rail system to go on there, and it's about this long. Goes on your gun. It's out in my truck. It's not here. I left it downstairs before we came into the studio. So I will get that to you. But yes, we do have it on Feedback Friday. Feedback Friday we have coming up this weekend. That's where we give you free stuff for participating in the program.
Yes, sir, Bob. Well, folks, once again, thank you so very much. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and telling your friends about the Rundown. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you guys subscribe.
Now wait. We're not done. I'm going to press you here. I sent you a picture that a listener sent us. Can you put that up?
Let me see if I can get to it. So tell you what, you're going to have to stall for a minute.
I'll have to stall for a minute. That's no big deal. It's no big deal. We could do this. Yeah, talking about our first couple of stories there with the FBI and how they work with. Did they entrap these people? Did they not entrap these people? It seems like it was all FBI people at the meeting at the end, but we'll do that. Thanks again to the sponsors, Gorilla Machining, GorillaMachining.com. Check them out. Everything you need except a serial numbered part right there at Gorilla Machining. And then once you go to Ghost Rifles, Ghost Firearms, you can go over there and take a look at their stuff. They've got some similar stuff, but different type. These guys sit on different ends of the spectrum of firearm supplies and equipment. So this is stuff that you should really be taking a look at. We thank them. They've been with us for, well, let's see. I think the first week we did the program, we did not have a sponsor, and then these two jumped on board and they've been with us ever since. They've been funneling out, $100 worth of gifts every week, I think is what's going on, is normally what we've got from them. So we'll probably get some more parts coming next week. This week it's a rail. Next week maybe a rail also. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We're going to continue to push stuff out. How are we looking, Craig?
I think
we got it?
I think we got it. Just a second.
All right, here we
Sizing
go.
it real quick.
Girl, look at that body. Girl, look at that body.
Bam, there we go.
Yeah.
When you finally meet your internet friends IRL.
This is it. You've been getting plugged online by the FBI. Yeah, let's get together. Let's form a task force. Let's go after the governor. And then you go meet them. Here they are. They are the FBI.
Oh,
this
dude.
is how that meeting goes at the restaurant the first time, I think, Craig.
You're killing me, sir. You're killing me. You're freaking
That was from a
hilarious.
reader. That was from a viewer. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah.
All right, sir. Well, hey, always a pleasure. Folks, you guys take care. Please remember, like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe.
Do it. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.